Number 1. Yonanas Classic Soft Serve Dessert Maker. The Yonanas machine is admittedly a little gimmicky. It chops up frozen bananas and other fruit into a soft serve like vegan dessert, and that's all it does. You can't use it to freeze standard ice cream or sorbet bases or put anything in it besides peeled, pitted fruit. But we enjoyed the tasty, soft serve we got when we tested it out. It works like a food processor. You load the fruit into the top and push it down with a plunger, and then pulverized frozen pulp comes directly into the serving bowl. Using a combination of bananas and strawberries, we got a treat that was creamy and scoopable. Look, you're not going to mistake the results of the Yonanas for real dairy ice cream. Our test batch had chunks of fruit in it and kind of a gooey texture, but it makes a healthier dessert that could be great for ice cream-loving kids. The sweetness level depends entirely on the fruit you use, so we'd aim for overripe over underripe. Number 2. Cuisinart Ice Cream Maker Machine. The process is simple and designed to be mess-free. The double insulated freezer bowl fits into the base, the mixing paddle fits into that, and the plastic cover holds everything together. You pour in your base mixture, and as the bowl spins, the paddle scrapes a layer of frozen material off the interior wall, incorporating it back into the mixture. After about 20 minutes, you get fully churned ice cream. To add mix-ins, you just toss them into the bowl when the batch is almost done spinning. There's only one setting, one blade, and no timers to worry about. In testing, our ice cream and sorbet both had even textures, albeit a bit softer and softer serve-like than some other machines. Sticking the finished product in the freezer for a couple of hours firmed it up, but it retained its smoothness and scoopability. The main catch, though, is that you need a pre-frozen bowl, and this machine's is pretty bulky. If you want to be able to make ice cream at the drop of a hat, it has to live in the freezer all the time, and it'll take up a lot of room. Number 3. Nostalgia Electric Ice Cream Maker. Long ago, even before the freezer was invented, it was still possible to make ice cream at home. You just needed a bucket of ice and salt, a hand crank, and lots of muscle power. The salt is there to melt the ice and lower the freezing point of the liquid. This machine replicates that method, complete with a wooden bucket, though it thankfully electrifies the crank part. The Nostalgia model is fun for its, well, nostalgia, but it also features a huge capacity of up to a gallon of ice cream per batch. In testing, we found that you need to get the salt and ice layering just right for best results, which is unfortunate as there aren't very specific instructions included on how much of each to use. We'd suggest starting with at least 8 pounds of ice and 3 cups of salt, and make sure the interior container is flush with the bottom as you load up ice and salt around the sides. We got pretty good results in both of our tests, with lots of sorbet and ice cream that tasted great, but were a bit soft and inconsistent in texture. Number 4. Ninja NC 501 CREAMi Deluxe. While most ice cream makers freeze the liquid base while whipping in the air at the same time, the Ninja CREAMi starts with a jar of frozen base and uses a special blender blade like creamerizer paddle to give it a proper smooth and velvety texture. The unusual method made our lab's team of trained chefs and experienced home cooks suspicious, but in the end, the Tic-Tac famous gadget turned out to be the best ice cream machine we've ever used. With both sorbet and ice cream, the CREAMi Deluxe produced a firm and consistently textured product, with no ice crystals or unspun base built up in the corners of the container. Both were ready to eat and perfect straight out of the machine. After 2 hours of refreezing, the ice cream maintained its texture exactly, and the sorbet was still pretty good, a bit denser than we'd like, with a few ice crystals on top. The actual whipping process with the CREAMi Deluxe takes just over 5 minutes, but you do have to prepare the base and freeze it overnight first. Number 5. Cuisinart Ice 101.5 Quart Ice Cream. Most ice cream makers can freeze a batch in an hour or less if you don't count the full day the bowl has to chill beforehand. Yes, you could keep the bowl in the freezer, but it takes up a lot of space. The Cuisinart Ice 100 has an onboard compressor, which means there's no pre-freezing required. It lets you make ice cream on a whim whenever you'd like, but the trade-off is that compressor ice cream makers are quite a bit more expensive than units with a basic motor and a freezable bowl. The Cuisinart Ice 100 is a great base-level compressor unit, a workhorse that freezes a 1.5-quart batch in an hour or less. Its single churning speed is fairly slow, which was a good thing in our sorbet test. We got a very smooth and fruit-forward strawberry sorbet, and it was ready in 41 minutes. The manual recommends a full hour for sorbet. We were monitoring the machine and decided to stop it early. With ice cream, we got to a soft serve-like consistency in 36 minutes, and then we tossed in the Oreo crumbles to mix in thoroughly in about 30 seconds.